Welcome back. Ismael Martin Suarez. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my race for governor, winning in 2026, November 3rd. Looking forward to it. Well, today is just the first week of July. We've seen some big things happen in California and in the federal government. Beginning July 1st, California is going to increase our gas taxes. I've heard up to 65 cents a gallon or up to $6 a gallon by the end of 2025. There are some members of the state legislature, Democrats and Republicans, who kind of want to back things up a little bit, because when Jerry Brown initially signed the legislation, it sounded like a good plan, and it wasn't going to raise gasoline prices by maybe more than $10 a month, if you will. And but beyond that, California is one of the most regulated states when it comes to emissions. We have the highest standards already. In fact, car manufacturers have to adjust the way they build their motors, their engines, to conform to California's high standards. And so, that said, we already have the highest standards, and putting on these additional taxes for using gasoline, and so on and so forth, it's kind of unnecessary now at this point. But one of the factors that wasn't considered, back in 2017, 2018, was the boom of the electric vehicle. Sales in the last 5 years are just, you just look down the street, not everybody, but many of the youth in their 20-somethings are driving electric vehicles. And that also has caused a little bit of a revenue generating situation, because there are fewer vehicles using gasoline. And so that means that there has to be a little more increase in the tax to generate revenue than was anticipated, because we have a certain percentage of vehicle owners, who are not driving gasoline vehicles. And that was not really, I don't think that was anticipated or forecasted, 8 years ago, if you will. I don't have the exact dates. I should have looked it up. I'm just being transparent. You probably know, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I remember when Jerry Brown signed that legislation on this day and that, and it contained this, that, and the other. But that kind of goes to one of my centerpieces of my campaign, is I didn't know what was in the bill when it got passed and signed back then. And I think probably the majority of people who are listening to me today never read that bill. Right? Do you even remember that bill and what was in that bill? Well, one of my centerpieces is to decode these massive bills that are passed, or first proposed before they're passed, so that you and I, citizens of California, have an opportunity to read what's in the bill and contact our representatives if we have something we'd like to voice. Perhaps the proposal or parts of the legislation don't go far enough, and you want to say, hey, can you take it an extra mile? Or maybe, hey, can you, but why is it going to cost this much for this particular aspect of the bill that you guys are proposing? How did you come up with those numbers? Is there a better way to do it? And can we save some money and reduce our deficit? think California has like a $7 billion deficit as of now, approximately. Don't quote me on it, but it's there. And with the new and apparently the big beautiful bill uh, passed today on July the 3rd. Double check my calendar. It passed today, and there are some elements of that big beautiful bill that don't help California. But one of the things that does help California is that the salt reduction has increased from 10,000 to 40,000. And I think that's like one of the big things that were a must have to get it across the finish line. And there were some other things. There were some things about Medicaid and sponsoring, Medicaid. I would say this is a fact that it's tougher on U.S. citizens to qualify for Medicaid than for non-U.S. citizens who are here illegally. They don't have, under California's law, they're not going to have to qualify for the work requirement. It's like, don't worry about it, guys. We got you covered. We're going to cover you. We're going to pay for it. Which is something that cost a lot more than was anticipated. And even the governor had wanted to step it back a little bit not too long ago. But I'd have to look that up again. I was listening to one of the state representatives down in San Diego County talk about that. But so I'm learning. I'm getting more informed. I'm a citizen just like you, looking to get more involved and be more involved in government. I don't think I think I'm typical Californian. We kind of know, but we don't really know. We kind of need to know. We need to be told, and I don't like that anymore. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to live like that any longer. And so, transparency, decoding legislation, getting it out there, allowing people to give feedback to our representatives is one of the things I'm really going to focus on. And so you're going to be able to go to my website. You're going to be able to look up the legislation that's being proposed, and you're going to be able to read it, catch a video summary of it, and reach out to your representatives to give them what you think or about the proposed legislation and what you'd like them to do, if anything at all. But the point is that we all become more informed on what's being proposed. We become more informed on what aspects of this legislation might be good for us, and then again might not be that good for us, and then definitely that's not good for us. Where did that come from? Oh, it came from so and so. What were they thinking? Okay. Also, I did mention earlier in a previous video that these introduction videos are just a way for me to speak to you, give you an opportunity to hear me and get to know me. I am going to be touching more on my platform, being a little more thorough, a lot more articulate and straightforward in my communications. It won't be as, I guess, I don't know, nonchalant or casual. I'm going to really start getting I'm going to up my level. These are just kind of get to know me campfire, sit on the couch, invite you into my house. I'm a real person, let's have a cup of coffee, and just get to know one another. And so I hope you found these first videos that I've done in the beginning here at the end of June and the beginning of July helpful. I'm just trying to be a little bit casual, lay back, just talk to you. but I really do care about this state. I'm trying to contain myself on how excited I am, uh, but I am very excited, very confident, and very competent that together with we can use artificial intelligence with humans in the loop to make our state excel in areas where we need improvement. And you can Google, where California ranks in housing, in homelessness, in offering medical services, in the economy, and you'll find where we rank, and with our schools, our water, our infrastructure. You can Google that, and you'll find out where we are in many of these rankings against other states. And I'd like to get some of these rankings are, in the high 40s, close to 50. And I don't think that's you. And I definitely know that's not me. And so I like to get these rankings up to where we're in the top 20 within 2 years, and, and work towards being in the top 10 at the end of my first term. And we'll see where I go from there. But at least we have a blueprint that works, and we've got other states coming to us and asking, how did you do that? Or can we get some advice from you, because here's what we're doing and we notice what you're doing, you know. And we want to help, we're all Americans living in the greatest country in the world, 250 years old on July 4th, coming up on Friday. Wow, what a time to be alive. What a time to live in this country. It just gets better and better decade after decade. And it is 2025. Our lives are going to be so much better in the next 5 years once we get to 2030. And then again, 2035. Oh, we're gonna be loving it. We're gonna be enjoying life. Things are gonna be a lot more easier for all of us, and we're gonna have a lot more time freedom on our hands because we're using the machines. We're getting back our time, and our time to enjoy our families, our interests we have, the endeavors we would like to pursue, our friends, traveling, things we'd like to do, because we have more money and more time. And that's what I hope for all of California, and I definitely hope that's true for the rest of the country. But we are going to lead. Amen.